Hey guys, it's Kayla back again with another video, and today's video is going to be an interview that I did with Seth Hymes. If you don't know who Seth Hymes is, he is the creator of the Digital Marketing Blueprint course. You might have seen him around here on YouTube. He is somebody that I look up to. He knows what he's talking about. I tell everybody who is interested in learning digital marketing, who wants to start a digital marketing career, to check out his course. He is the man when it comes to digital marketing and course creation. I have a link down below to go check out his course. I would tell absolutely anybody who is interested in digital marketing to give it a go. Amazing value for what you're being taught. And you won't have a better teacher than Seth when it comes to being taught digital marketing. Amazing value for $97 a month to be able to start a completely different career. I mean, it's unheard of. I wouldn't promote anything that I don't believe in, what I wouldn't promote to my own friends and family. Go check it out. I have a link down below. So Seth, would you give everybody a brief overview of who you are and how you got to where you are today?
Well, so I was an art school graduate. I majored in film, which was a terrible idea. Spent 10 years just struggling like most art majors. And then in 2010 is when I just sort of stumbled into digital marketing. A friend of mine took me to a seminar, and I had never realized you could use the internet for more than just like watching cat videos, or I guess back then Netflix was still pretty new. But I basically stumbled into the field of digital marketing like a lot of people. I just was, taking courses, reading blogs, meeting people. I had a girlfriend at the time who taught me a lot about email marketing and list building. And I was just kind of in this crazy learning, trying stuff stage. I was blogging. I wasn't making very much money. But what happened is I realized about a year into this, I had enough skills to actually, I hadn't built my own huge business, but I had the skills to be hired by other companies. And that's when I got my first job in digital marketing at an agency. And all I came in with was my experience with my own websites of having run ads and built sites and things. And they hired me and handed me $1 million of ad spend the first day. So with no experience. And then I just learned on the job. While I was working, I was creating my own courses. I created my first course on filmmaking for other filmmakers called Film School Secrets. And again, it was a lot of trial and error and just sort of, trying things. And that really resonated with other filmmakers. And it was incredibly satisfying to help people and also teach people from the mistakes I'd made from going to film school and show people how to skip that and get things going faster. So I was working a day job. I was making additional income from my courses. And then eventually just, over time, I just got better and better at it. I created the digital marketing course that you're familiar with because I kept getting job offers in digital marketing. I went from, I'd never made more than 40,000 a year at any job to making six figures within 3 years. And it was so easy to do. And the recruiters just kept coming after me. And me and my buddies were just joking around and saying, this is absurd. Like, everyone's complaining they can't find a job. And we are like the hot girl at the dance that's getting hit up. Will you dance? I was like, I don't even want one job, but now I have 10 job offers. Wouldn't it be better if I could teach people how to get jobs? Because all these other people would probably really it would make a difference.
Mhm.
So that's what inspired me to make the digital marketing course. And then, I took kind of what I'd learned over the past 6 years of experience, put them into that course, created something that really helped people get results, partnered up with Matt, and it just took off. And
Did
that kind of takes me where I am today.
Did you ever think growing up that you would be in the world of digital marketing, or you would have your own information products on the internet?
No, because when I was growing up, there was no internet. you know, I grew up in the 90s. So it was like, we were using floppy disks and pagers, and, the internet was like, I had a buddy who was on BBS bulletin boards. It was a super geeky thing. So there was no, I have a perspective I try to share with my students of just appreciating how amazing the internet is and how it's just something we take for granted now. But I mean, the fact that you and I could be connecting right now, I've never met you before. You found my videos. You're in Florida. I mean, this wasn't possible when I was growing up. So no, I didn't have any premonition of this, but I had been told throughout my life that I was a good teacher. People seem to like, I did some teaching when I was in college, and I just seemed to be I really enjoyed mentoring people. So I never thought I would be teaching, but I really enjoy it, and people seem to like it when I teach. So it's worked out.
What did you want to be when you were growing up? Did you always want to be in the film industry?
I remember actually being a kid having all my different stages. I remember I wanted to be G.I. Joe first. I wanted to, I don't know, I wanted to be a track star. This is going to date me because Bruce Jenner was my hero, and now he's a different
So,
person.
completely different person.
He's a woman. He was the most manly like athlete. I was like, I want to be a track star like Bruce Jenner. I wanted to be, as I said, G.I. Joe. Then I wanted to be like I wanted to be a cop. I found film, and yeah, I wanted to be a filmmaker. And now, thanks to this path and digital marketing, I was able to, I don't know if you're familiar, but I was able to actually write and produce my own movie, While I Got Wasted, that is on Amazon right
What does a day in the life of Seth Hymes look like?
now. I am like, so I actually do have the 4-hour work week, which is kind of interesting because I've met a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of very successful people, multimillionaires who do not have time freedom. And it's usually, sometimes it's just because of the nature of their business model, and other times it's because they just are that type of personality that just cannot stop working. Um, sometimes like when I'm working on a new course like I am now, I'll work a lot, but I mean, I only put in 3 hours of work a day. The business model of courses, to me, I think is the most amazing business model in existence, allowing pretty much any person to create a product and help other people and have a profit margin that's unheard of in any other industry. So day in life for me, I'm like really boring. I wake up and I meditate, or I do some type of yoga or some type of workout. And not I don't work out every day, but I have like a really slow life, and I'll watch Netflix, hang out with friends, take a trip, read, work on my stuff. It's very chill. This last year, I've been kind of in a spiritual year. So I've been up in the woods. It's been really quiet. And starting in the December, I'm traveling back to Asia. So I'm going to be a lot more active. But yeah, I have a pretty slow life.
How many hours a week do you spend working in the digital marketing blueprint as far as mentoring students, answering emails, promoting it, and any other things that you really need to do to continue the success of your course?
I would say, I haven't actually tracked the hours, but it really is between like 4 to 8 hours a week. I mean, I give a ton of attention to my students. The way it's set up, the way I've set up the structure of the course, it's very manageable for me. So I can hop in there every day if I want, or every other day. I usually answer student emails daily. There's a forum, and I answer questions there. I review work. Sometimes, uh, I'll do that every 3 or 4 days, but it's very manageable. So, the thing about me, especially since I'm working on this new course, is that then I kind of push myself to work on new things. As far as promoting the digital marketing course, I have a few things. First of all, I want to keep it up to date, and then I'm looking for new affiliates like yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to be putting up a brand new website that will lead with all the testimonials. I want to put all of our testimonials on the front page so people see them immediately. We have more than any other course I've ever seen.
Definitely.
Um, but yeah, it's been, I mean, listen, the course it's so beautiful because it's helping people all the time from the information in the videos. I'm able to support people like in real time with updated, real time feedback
Answers. Mm-hmm.
answers. Yeah. And it's, I had times where I've been away from it for a week, and it's still running, and it's still helping people. So there aren't too many businesses you could say that about.
It's kind of self-sufficient to a point. Like the
Yeah.
students are able to be self-sufficient and figure some things out for themselves, and they really need to get in contact with you, then that's what they do, and you give them the answer that they need.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And that's part of the price point too. It's,
Hmm.
it's not, I mean, it's so cheap and
It's not
I'm
like one-on-one coaching.
no, but it's like, it's kind of a faux one-on-one because they do get to communicate with me. Just, it's not
Hmm.
like on demand and, or in person, face to face like this.
Hmm.
So it's kind of the best of both worlds, but yeah, it's pretty great.
Does your new course coming out, does it have an official name yet, or an official premiere date?
I don't have a premiere date yet. I'm doing kind of a beta thing right now, as we
Hmm.
talked about. The title is Digital Freedom School. I'm a real advocate of courses as the best pathway to freedom because it's definitely possible to run a business doing e-commerce, doing affiliate marketing and those things, and those are great too. But my personal experience of success has been with monetizing my passion, knowledge, and experience with the courses.
Now, will this course have a model like your past course with a monthly membership style and email support, or is it going to be more one-on-one than the digital marketing blueprint?
This is a high ticket item with more
Hmm.
access to me. I feel like I have this low ticket thing in my repertoire where I can help people who really do need the help in terms of they can't afford a higher thing. I wanted to attract people like yourself who are, I think, driven, motivated and willing to invest the time and money into this kind of a program. Because my pitch with the course is that this is, if you're going to build an online course, this can change your life, and it definitely can change the next 5 or 10 years of your life. So you don't look at the investment of a few $1,000s as like, oh no, this is huge investment. Over time, it's actually very little money.
The ROI should be much more than the initial
Yeah.
investment.
I mean, like my first year, this is the thing that's funny. I never, I figured all this stuff out myself, trial and error, taking courses. I copied. That's what in this course, what I'm looking forward to is giving that personal feedback. I will be providing more one-on-one feedback. Sometimes just a couple of words from an experienced course creator or any experienced person could be so valuable. Just like when you make your course and you
Hmm.
provide advice to your students, it's so valuable. It doesn't have to be, it could be just a little conversation. And, when I was first starting out, I copied a lot of the things I'd seen in other courses, and I had to find my own voice because I was trying to model like these certain salespeople, and it doesn't sound like me.
You have to be authentic to who you are.
Yeah. And that's what I want to teach. That's what I'll be teaching my students too. I think authenticity, that's what impassioned me so much about this. I said, the thing that always killed me about life and being an adult that just sucked to me was that this idea that when you're a kid, you can just play and have fun and just do whatever you want. And it's so light and enjoyable. Then adulthood comes and you're stuck in this world of having to, first of all, ingest all this useless information and then contort yourself into this person that you are supposed to be. Oh, I'm supposed to be a lawyer. I'm supposed to be a investment banker. I'm supposed to be this person, which you may enjoy those jobs. But the idea that you could make money being yourself, that was that was another idea I thought of for the course of it. Making money being myself, just because like the success I've had is people like that I'm authentic. I don't have to be fake. I don't have to try to, and when I'm selling stuff, I don't use a lot of techniques a lot of other people use either.
I think that is definitely your it factor. What do you think your it factor is?
You asked me that. What is an it factor?
It just like makes you so likable. Like I don't know, like you're just very likable. I want to listen more to what you have to say. I mean, I tell people who say to me that they are interested in a digital marketing career to go and take your course because you're the guy. Like you're no BS, no fluff. Like you just tell it how it is. Like you don't, first it's like college. They teach you so much bullshit that like does not matter in real world. Like you tell people the facts and that's it.
Yeah.
That's your it factor.
So, well, there's a couple of things, like you said. Number one, I think authenticity really shines through no matter who you are. People love to hear just people being real. And I have no self-awareness of like especially when I first made the course, I just was, I won't say shouting, but I was just expressing myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I didn't even know if people would like me, or I've been very surprised by that. Like a lot of content creators, we all struggle with our own self-perception, but I've been very, kind of inspired and pleased with the fact that people seem to resonate with what I'm saying. I know you might ask me this later, I've done a lot of personal development, which has freed me up to express myself. And maybe that comes through in these videos, but I do think I speak to something inside of people, which is what I want to inspire my students to do with their courses, which is, as you said, no BS, just cutting to the heart of something and being really honest about it. And maybe that's it.
How did you know that making courses was right for you? Even starting out with your initial course regarding filmmaking, how did you know that this was what you were meant to do?
That's a good question. So, well, first of all, it was a lot of trial and error in the beginning. I initially, like most people, and this is where I see people fail when it comes to making money online, and this is why I'm very particular in how I'm positioning this new course. If you're pursuing money, just money, you're probably going to fail, because that's what I did, and it's a lot of people do. You have an opportunistic mindset. You're just kind of like, you're not thinking about how money actually is created, which is through connections and exchange of, like, somebody has to actually choose to give you their money, right? So when I started out, I was blogging, and I was stuck in the Google. This was back when it was real easy to rank on Google
Mm-hmm.
for keywords. Like, literally, you could throw up a website called like bluemattress.com, and in 2 days you'd be getting hundreds of visits, just like with no SEO at all. So there was this whole process. I threw up like 10 blogs. I'm trying to make just AdSense money or affiliate. It's all just like a mad scramble to try to make money. And I didn't make very much money. And then in the meantime, I'd started this filmmaking blog, which I'm very passionate about. And I didn't think I'd make a penny from this thing. I actually had written a book about film school just because I was so angry and so wanted to warn people about the waste of art, film school. And I threw the book up with a little e-junkie link, the ugliest website you've ever seen. Somebody bought the book from Kansas. I was like, dude, who are you? How did you find my book? That like blew my mind through the roof. I said, I just made $30 from some stranger paying for my opinions about things. And then they were very grateful for the book, and that's what kind of, I mean, the fact that it was passive, it happened without me actively trying to do anything, and it was my creation. And then I put all my energy into that film course, and that's the thing that ended up making me the most money, but it was the thing I was the most passionate about, and the thing I would have been doing whether I got paid or not. So that's when I was like, this business model is awesome. And I started making other courses too, even about things that I made this course that I haven't promoted very much. I talk about it in my new course called the Dynamic Stretching Zone, the complete dynamic warm up. Because I met this trainer who just like blew my mind with his knowledge of active stretching to prevent injury.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so excited. I was like, dude, you should make a course, And he, of course, like most people, was like, what? And so I just did it for him.
And what were
And
the results of that?
well, here's the thing. This was at a time when I had this mindset, problem. A lot of newcomers have. I was doing too many things, right? So I
Yeah.
built the course in like a week, and I just threw it up online. I didn't do any promotion. I still made sales though. I mean, you made a few hundred or $1,000 from throwing something on the internet and doing no promotion. That's still pretty amazing. And I look at that course and I go, I should be promoting this. That's another issue a lot of people run into, is lack of focus.
Mm-hmm.
And, like I said, with the film thing, I kept focusing, digital marketing, kept focusing. And that's how I ended up having success with that. But, whatever you decide to do, when you connect with something that you wake up in the morning and you're ready to like dive into it every day, that's the thing you should pursue, in my opinion.
Besides lack of focus, where are the other areas people fall short on when creating their courses?
I mean, lack of focus is pretty, is
Probably,
pretty big.
probably the highest one, but
It's really funny because I'm running into, as I'm doing my research, so many different types of course creators. I got you, and there's another person I'm in contact with who are so type A, like I can tell you're taking action. You know what you you don't have like a motivation issue. It's really more of just it is a focus and like kind of the confidence to just sort of just get it done and put it out there, kind of a thing. But most of the issues I see with people are mindset. Other people I've run into are, I think, in a different end of the spectrum where they are really lacking a certain confidence, and they've been sucked into, a lot of people do get sucked into this social media imposter syndrome trap. That term, it's funny, I never heard of it till like a year ago. I guess that's pretty prevalent in the younger generation.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's been around forever, but it's been given a name. People have this imposter syndrome where they compare themselves to other people. And for whatever reason, when I was starting out, I didn't have that. I was just like unleashed. You know, I said, when I started a film course, right? And I remember my mind was going like, who the hell are you to do this? You know, I hadn't made a movie. I wasn't Steven Spielberg or Robert Rodriguez, but I knew I could help people. So that's what I'm trying to inspire my students with now, is that, every, it's so funny. Like, as soon as you have the guts to put yourself out there, you are an authority, and, but that's one thing people run into. Another thing is, people do get stuck on like, what should I make the course about? And some people get caught up in research. And then other people, and this is like, I think the mass majority, was something I'm going to talk about in my free webinar, is people don't understand how to sell it properly. And the evidence is the existence of Udemy, the existence of Udemy, and the fact that they have like 30,000 courses. To me, when I see Udemy, I see billions of dollars in lost revenue from the course creators, because that website, to me, as a consumer and as a student, it's fantastic. You can learn all sorts of cool shit because there's all these talented people who are underpricing their knowledge. You're paying $10 for a 30-hour course on programming or something. But as a course creator, that's not the right way to position or package your knowledge and information.
For sure.
And there's like thousands of people who've done it. And I'm like, well, there
goes thousands of dollars.
Yeah. Oh, even more. I mean, I have a friend who, he has thousands of followers, and he has tens of thousands of students in a certain niche, I would say, on Udemy. And he makes, I said, like, dude, how much do you make a month? He's like, oh, about $2,000 a month from 20,000 students. I said, so that's that. And when I find a topic that gets me amped up, that's another thing that I know I'm on the right track.
I'm definitely a big fan of online courses as far as taking them. And I have taken courses on Udemy and other platforms. And when you compare a Udemy course versus a course that you have to spend, $100, $300, $500, like, the quality is just very apparent that the $100 one, the $300 one, the $500 one, it's just much more high quality than the Udemy one. There's been some good some ones on Udemy, but overall, like, the higher price ones, you're what's the phrase? You get what you pay for. Yeah,
absolutely.
How have you guaranteed that you have the best digital marketing course on the market? How is it? It gets so many great testimonials. How is your digital marketing career course just outperforming every other one out there? How are your students just doing so much better than at all the other digital marketing courses out there?
Oh, that's a good question. I've researched the market, and I'll say, look, I think my teaching style and the information I give people is distinct from anything else out there. But most of them, I mean, it's the same problem that all higher education has, is that they don't teach the most important part of the training, which is how to get the job. And that's what's so funny, even as I've looked at my competitors, even a place like Udacity, which Udacity's nano degree is probably the closest to mine in terms of them teaching some practical stuff. They give you accounts and show you how to actually get like experience. But I still get people from that program that are like, I don't know how to get a job. And I'm just like, well, this is what you do. And it could be because, the strategy that I'm teaching, this is what's kind of hilarious. It's the same strategy that I used in 2011. And so people ask me about, is the course updated? Absolutely, it's updated. But this is where you have to be a teacher to your students, is people might come in and say, oh, I need to know the latest, I need to know all the different little things happening with Google ads at this very granular level. Well, what's your goal? You know, my course, I think it's so successful is because the goal is to get people a job or a client. And when you're going for the job, all that granular information is not important because you're trying to get an entry level job, you know?
Mhm.
And that's the whole point of the course. I said, that was the other thing. I came up with this vision, I think, that was very, I think, inspiring and realistic, which is that I'm not going to, you know, I also have seen, I'm not going to teach you 60 hours of theory or, you know, when you get that first job, you will then, that's your classroom. You know, you're going to learn so much more working on real accounts. And then you'll be, my course sets you up to be teachable for all that stuff. There's just a methodology behind it that I think is very distinct.
Yeah, I definitely think that a lot of courses miss out on the making students go and or teaching them how are they going to get a job, how are they going to be making money after taking this course, because really that's the most important thing, is for your students to be able to, you know, make money after taking whatever course you are creating, because most courses out there are usually related to making income of some sort. Your digital marketing course is around 3 or 4 years old at this point, right?
Yeah.
It seems that it has gotten more and more popular every single year. Do you see that trend ever slowing down?
Ever, as people, you know, some people write to me and they say, are you going to be teaching this course in 20 years? I say, I don't know what's going to be happening in 20 years. I mean, my head could be in a glass bottle. I don't know. Like, but here's what I say. The trend is that this field is going to continue to grow. These jobs, you know, when I started the course in 2016, there were like 30,000 jobs a day on LinkedIn in digital marketing. Now it's about 60,000 jobs. So that's just going to keep growing, because I really have to thank all the colleges for their ineptitude, because they're not preparing those millions of graduates who come out of college do not know a thing about digital marketing. So as long as this exists, you know, I see the course continuing, and I'm continuing to, honestly, it's still a very, I'd say it's a secret course, because it's just not, compared to the marketplace, it's so small, the amount of people who have even heard of it. But I've been reaching, you know, I continue to reach out, and next year I'm committed to continuing to reach out to more affiliates and, you know, continue to grow the reach. I just connected with this really awesome person that works at for like a military publication that focuses on members, veterans, and active duty service people, and who are great candidates for this. In fact, one of my stories in my funnel is my buddy Mike, who is a Marine, a sergeant in the Marines for 4 years, and now is like crushing it in digital marketing. So I think this skill set works really well with that demographic. And yeah, I think it could continue to expand. It's still very early, which is another question I get, is people go, oh, did I miss out on this? It's like, no, you know, it's still growing.
Has the course changed much since you first launched it?
Yeah, I updated, you know, I went through a big update this year in terms of, especially on the Google side, but the fundamental strategy, like I said, this is the thing, is like, I don't try to keep things a secret, you know, from people. It's like, this strategy is how to get a job. And it's the same strategy essentially that I used in 2011. I think I mentioned that a minute ago. So again, this is the problem people have with like this course as opposed to other courses. I'm not teaching you like how to do Google ads, like, you know, this week, and then, oh, there's this algorithm update. You know, what I teach my students to do, and I've always done, is I said to myself, it doesn't make sense for me to get in there and try to overload people with every little feature and thing. I need to teach people the fundamentals and then teach them how to teach themselves. And that makes them better students. It makes them more powerful. It makes them better interviewees when they go into interview. Because fundamentally, remember, you're taking somebody from zero to a job. So I'm not going to, again, if you fill someone's head with too much theory, they're going to do a bad interview. But if you give them the practical experience and the context in the interview, and then the authenticity, because what happens in most of these interviews is this: a person is interviewing for a position, and what the agency wants, a person who is like got all this experience and shit. They're not going to find that person. It just, there's not enough people. But my students come in and they're so knowledgeable and so passionate. And then they get to authentically say like, hey, I've worked on this account and I've worked on that account, but I haven't worked on $1 million ad account, and they get hired because they're authentic in their presentation. So I'm not going to try to overwhelm them with like, that's not what the employers want. The employer wants somebody who gets it, has a fundamental understanding, and is teachable. And then they want to take you, bring you into their agency and teach you their style. And then they're going to show you all the little doodads. Fundamentally, like I said, the essence of the course is the same as it was, but the question is, it's getting results every week still. I guess I should probably compare it to like, I'm trying to think of some kind of evergreen product that's been around for a while, but is still great.
Mm-hmm.
Not like Coke, but I guess you could say it's like Coke.
Oh my
It's a
gosh.
sugar water, but Coke's been around for almost 100 years and it's still great.
I mean, it's definitely a career that's not slowing down anytime soon, unless like an apocalypse happens and there's no more internet. So, how did you decide to go for a monthly membership course versus a course having a higher upfront one-time cost?
That's a great question. So this was my initial, I was going to launch this at $2,000. I'd already done high ticket sales, and it's a different mindset, and it's awesome when you do high ticket, which is why I'm doing this new course, high ticket. You get there's different audiences that are attracted to different price points, but given the value and the fact, of course, I knew I could help people get these awesome careers that were going to pay them $60,000. $2,000 is a drop in the bucket. But when I was launching it, I have this passion, as you know, for helping out college students and college age people and high school students. And one of the things that it bums me out that I was like, my students who I really want to help are going to be in a situation where they've just blown all their money on college. And now they don't have the money to afford this training, which they really need, or they're going to have to now go back to their parents and try to convince them that this internet course is worth it. So I did an experiment. I said, all right, I'm going to do a monthly. And honestly, I've never seen anyone else do this business model, because you're paying for access like Netflix. I said, this is the only way it makes sense is for me I'm not doing one time, and I'm not going to be updating the course every single day. People are going to pay for access to me. But the big question is, who's going to be attracted to this? Because if you underprice your stuff, you will get shitheads, pardon my French, but that's what I learned early on. You cannot, if you underprice, you just do a disservice to everybody. So I said, is $97 a month too cheap? We'll find out. So I did an experiment. We launched it, and I got great people. It was the perfect price point. I got people who were serious enough, who were maybe struggling a little bit financially. So the 97 was significant enough to them, but it wasn't so much that they were going to go broke. People will come in with a real appreciation for the value. And because it's worked out so well, that's why I've kept it this way. And every quarter I'm like, should I raise it? As long as I keep getting good people and keep making a difference and it's profitable, I'll keep it at, this price point.
How many students have you had in total so far go through the course?
I actually am pretty bad at my analytics, but it's a few thousand, I mean, it's gotta be over 3,000 or 4,000.
What is the percentage of students that stay subscribed more than 1 month?
I mean, the average subscription is like 2 to 3 months. That's average. The way it's set up, and again, I did it like a Netflix model, so people feel free. Some people come in bolt, and other people stay in for 6 months or 7 months or 8 months. I'm working, because I use ClickBank, I have to go through this approval process with new products, but I'm working on possibly adding a lifetime membership option that people can pay up front for like $500.
That'd be cool. That'd be a good option for people.
It's an incredible deal if you stay in.
What's the longest term someone has been subscribed to the course?
I don't know. I've had people stay in over a year. And a lot of my students, you know what they do? I just realized this. A lot of them are just so grateful and realize how cheap it is. They'll just stay in because they just want to give me more. I mean, they get like, they're like, how the hell did I get this career from $100 or $300? Like,
Yeah.
all right, and then a lot of them want to come back into the forums and contribute. So that's another element of it. Why I keep it cheap is there's just been this really organic circle of life, give and take, karma,
Mm-hmm.
where it's not like some programs where people just go off and, ah, ha, 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 I made my money, I'm leaving. They want to give back and help the new students and contribute.
Have you ever had to deal with people who just don't get the course, who, they might try and do a chargeback, or there might be another word for it, but they get into the course, they check it out, and then they back out?
Yeah, of course. Anyone's going to get that,
Mm-hmm.
especially at a lower price point. But it's cool. It used to bug me in the beginning. I think like it's part of the growth process with being, like when you were a YouTuber, probably negative comments bothered you at one point, and then you get used to it. It's just normal. Every product in existence has refunders. It's so rare. It's just so rare, and then there's people who refund, they usually pretty polite about it. I get the occasional prick, and then I'm just like, here's your money back. Go, good luck, yeah, I used to get really triggered by all that stuff. I'd be like, what do you mean? But sometimes you see like somebody, first of all, they haven't, usually those people, I have one dude, actually, I remember he was a pain in the ass student who, I guess he wrote something on Quora. One of my other students was really angry about it. And I was like, oh, that's so sweet of you, because it doesn't really bother me. But I can tell sometimes too, when somebody's asking me questions, I'm not somebody who sells you on the course. In fact, if I can tell you've got a shitty mindset, or let's say shitty mindset, but there's people who I know are going to take up too much. They're going to want too much. Like they're going to expect that for $97, you should be their butler or something. And if they have that attitude, I usually kind of discourage them or I'll directly say, this isn't right for you. But no, it's not an issue. The refund rate's very low, chargebacks, very, very low. Sometimes it's just like, I think people I make it very clear that, it's going to show up like this on your billing statement from ClickBank. But occasionally people will just forget. A lot of the other refunds, I realized, are people who forgot to cancel, and then they message me and say, oh, I'm sorry, I meant to cancel. So it's all very positive.
This kind of ties in with this last question. For the monthly cost of $97 a month, do you ever feel you have to put in more effort in some students than others? Do some require more than $97 a month worth of emotional labor and mentoring?
Yeah, well, it's funny because, so again, it's been very serendipitous and very like, there's been very good karma around this course. So a lot of my students help support not just me, but they support the other students. So for a while, Nick Schulaner is one of my students. I hope I pronounced his name right, who's been just awesome. He has been in the forums and answering questions, and he's built himself into an authority through associating himself with me. But he and I would occasionally get what we call our overthinking students. And it's been a balance where it's rare enough that when this happens, I have a name for it. Now, that was my big concern with my price point, was if I'm like, babysitting people 24/7, then this is not worth it. But I make it pretty clear to people, and and this is also something, I think you might have this concern for your own course, because I remember you were mentioning this. You create the environment of your course, and that's very important. You're the leader. So in my course, I make it very clear to people that they have to go through the whole course before they ask me questions. And sure, not everybody listens to that, but for the most part, my response to almost every question in the beginning is, did you watch this video? And then people are like, no. And then, sometimes I get the person that's like, I signed up yesterday and I've applied for 50 jobs and no one called me back. And I'm like, okay, you didn't follow any of the directions. They'll send me their resume. They haven't done any of the work of the course. Again, that's very rare. Most people come in with a good attitude and they go for it. But no, it's been a good balance, where that is very, very rare. And then I often do call people out. Some people I have to ignore. I have some students who they cancel and they think they're going to keep getting support. and I have to let them know it's not fair to my existing students. And this model I've set up is designed to allow myself to kind of, almost replicate myself, expand my reach to handle hundreds of people. I can't be answering your every little question.
Mm-hmm. Would you be willing to give us a ballpark figure of how much you have made with courses so far?
I'm a six-figure earner. Like, I'm a mid six-figure earner. I'm not a millionaire.
I mean, that's
But
definitely nothing to sneeze at. That's
no,
quite impressive.
I make more than I used to make at my day jobs.
Definitely.
I'll tell you this, I will give you these numbers. It's funny because this is where, again, when I speak to my students, I'm like, I do believe I'm living proof. I scaled up from making a few $100s a month to a few $1,000s a month to making 5 figures a month, and having this be my, and also support a lifestyle that's so free. But I try to have my students focus on, don't be like, Ty Lopez came to mind, but don't be like, I'm going to be a 8-figure earner. Like, you have to start where you're at. And some people, like, that's the other thing I think is really funny mentally, is like, I've met people who they were making 6 or 7 figures in another profession, and they come over to courses and their transition isn't as difficult, but money is its own conversation. So I encourage people to focus on making that first $1,000 a month, and then you could scale that up to, more, but start there. When I did my first film course in my first year, I think I made $7,000 or $8,000, which at the time, you have to think, I'm making what, 35, 40,000 at my day job. Extra $7,000 that year was amazing.
It's major.
Yeah. And it was from teaching people about movies. And it was like, and that was almost completely passive, because I didn't do much. I'd answer an email every once in a while. So that's where I like to say I started from. And then, Matt, you've seen and stuff, we're making, 6 figures, but it is completely possible to make, I was thinking I make more than a doctor, or at least as much as a doctor, without the stress.
Yeah, by using the knowledge that you have and helping people.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And, it's great to have those, 7 and 8 figure goals and dreams, but you need to start lower and continue to build your way up there. It's not just going to be $10 million 1 year after starting your course.
Right. The thing is, it could be, but I was going to do a whole other thing on this, because I've met multimillionaires. I've worked with multimillionaires, and my students have worked with multimillionaires. And I think it's almost like saying you want to be a professional athlete. Like, people don't understand what is involved in handling that amount of money energetically. And even changing your current, you are comfortable. This could be a whole other conversation, but you are comfortable with whatever amount of money you currently have. And money is energy. Money is energy. And the thing is, this is, if that sounds too woo-woo for people.
No, I 100% agree with that. So.
And so with my course, I'm not just making X amount of money per month. I'm having transactions with hundreds of people. So I'm connected to all my students. So there could be a few hundred people or a few thousand people for you. Those are human connections, and people are actually giving their currency literally to you. So these people, I've met multimillionaires, and their energy is different. They're different. It's different than like your buddies or whoever you've met. And then it requires a certain level of balance, because I've met out of balance rich people, and I've met people who are very mentally blocked who still have a lot of money. It's a whole other game, the whole money thing, which is why I say to start where you are, but you don't know, once you've got the foundation, then you can build it up. Cause like, the path for this course was like, my goal was to make, I don't know, 3 sales a week, and make a few hundred extra a week. And then that, over time went up and up and up.
I'm definitely a woo-woo person. I definitely believe in having a positive attitude and having a positive relationship with money. So
Good.
What are the best moves, in your opinion, that you have taken to be successful in course creation? Do you have any regrets on any moves that you've taken in the past?
Regrets with the courses? I would say, I think when I was, there, I can see I missed out on some opportunities when I was younger because I wasn't, when I wasn't as, I was a little too harsh on myself, I was a little too self-critical. I think I could have, I had a knack for these things. I could have been doing more courses. I talk about in my current course, there's a couple of courses where I didn't do the proper research on my market, which is
Mhm.
essential. So I did one course, which is still a pretty awesome course, but I didn't fully understand the mindset of my students. So it didn't land properly. I don't really regret that though. That's the great thing about this. I think I saw on my LinkedIn feed, I saw this thing called, oh God, it's in English. It was called like Fuck Up Con or something like that. It was like, it literally was called Fuck Up Con, like Comic Con, but it was all these entrepreneurs getting together and all they were doing is talking about their failures. Like that was the whole event. Like
There's
this,
a lot to learn from that, though.
yeah. And the fact that it's so that I wanted to go to this event, except it was like, it's next week in England. I said, that's the beautiful thing about entrepreneurship when you get that mindset. I was like, well, so I'm thinking like, what do I regret? I guess if anything, I kind of regret that I didn't do my current course last year,
Mm.
like earlier. Um,
To have a
but
better date to premiere it at, or
no, I just feel it's like, get started sooner rather than
oh, okay,
later,
yeah,
and there's more people I could be helping. And, and I like having things already done.
yeah, just
I mean, that's,
getting it done and over with, and helping people as soon as possible.
yeah,
Obviously, college is a big regret of yours. You'd probably say, yeah.
it's really funny you say, now that you're asking me this in like a public situation, I'm like, I guess I have to think to myself, well, if I hadn't gone to college, I wouldn't have created any of this stuff, right?
Exactly.
but but practically speaking, like if I had an 18-year-old kid right now, no, I would be telling, like I would be, my stance as a parent would be, you're welcome to go to college because it's your life, but you're paying for it or you're going to deal with that debt. It's
Definitely.
not I'm not going to take it on for you.
But if you hadn't gone through this long journey, maybe you wouldn't have been able to offer such a great course.
Right.
And that's because you were able to see the reality of the world and what people have to deal with in college and jobs and making money, and the expectations that society puts on you to go to college and then start a family and buy a house and yada yada.
Yeah, absolutely.
What kind of things do you treat yourself to now that you are successful as an entrepreneur?
I am I don't know, you said like woo woo. I actually I used to be a massage therapist back in the day, like a licensed massage therapist. So I'm really into healing and wellness. So I'm like I wouldn't say a seminar junkie, but I'm very I do a lot of personal growth and development and body work. Like I treat myself to healings and body work. That's like my indulgence. Like when I was in Asia too, that was funny because like my girlfriend over there, she was like, we're both kind of very similar. It's like, I mean, I went to an island over there, Koh Samui, and I was like, what do we do? Like, we're not party animals. Like, I would go to this day spa I went every other day for like 2 weeks, and it was just like herbal steam and these like pools that you could, these cold water pools and massages. And honestly, the herbal steam was a real indulgence of mine. So that's something I indulge myself in. Ironically, I started making more money. I got a cheaper car. I used to drive a Lexus, and then I was like, I'm gonna get a Chevy Volt and like get the California discount and all that stuff
I
back
know.
when I lived in California. And I'm still like, it's so funny. I've been trying. This is a big thing I'm into too. Is I'm trying to live as if I was making less money. I want to keep myself humble and grounded and appreciative. So, things like going to the movies and eating out like at restaurants is probably my biggest indulgence.
Expense.
Yeah, I love eating at good restaurants. I love
Me
food,
too.
and I love being served.
We talked about this briefly in our email correspondence, but I think it'd be really interesting to talk about on the podcast. Why the tech behind courses and tech skills don't necessarily matter for most course creators.
So Why? Yeah, they just, well, they don't. It's not what's going to get somebody to sign up for your course, you know. In fact, the irony is we were discussing some platforms, you know, I'm using WordPress right now. It's funny you asked me that because I'm really fed up with, like, not really fed up, but like I wouldn't redo it with WordPress or these, it's just too glitchy, these plugins. But it's the last stage of, it's really like, I think it's like stressing about what basketball sneaker you're going to get. Oh god, should I get the Air Jordans? Or I don't even know what sneakers are these days. I'm from, you know, the 90s, but I was like, oh, should I get the Air Jordans or the Reebok or whatever the hell? It's like, that's not what's going to make you a better basketball player. You know, you got to do the drills, you got to do the work, you do the workouts. And then if you want to buy, you know, obviously the shoes are important because they have to be comfortable, but they're not going to make you a better jumper. So these platforms, there's a bunch of competing platforms. I mentioned the one that I really like because I think it solves a lot of problems. But I think what happens is a lot of course creators get, the shiny object syndrome is so powerful, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and it's really great. Your mind really loves to try to figure that out, you know, which there's so
Mm-hmm.
many little doodads to look at, you know. And that's the thing, you could put your course on Udemy if you really want to, but you have to structure the funnel properly. That's what I teach people, you know. 10 years ago, if you wanted to put a course up, it was such a pain in the ass. Like, you'd have to probably get a dedicated programmer. Now there's, you know, all of these options, but again, that's not what's going to compel people. And I'll probably, I'll in my course, I'll show you, like, my webinar funnel for my film course is so ghetto and looks so ugly.
I think a lot of people who might not be so familiar with digital marketing might not realize why sales funnels and marketing are the most important factors in how successful a course will be. You have any thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, just, you're right. Like, sales funnels are what's necessary, and it's something I'm going to be discussing in my webinar that I'm going to do to lead into the main course. It's a whole other conversation, but it's basically the biggest thing you're speaking to is that people. I mean, I think you can be a very wealthy and successful teacher, but look at our culture. Teachers are not paid well.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be a marketer. You have to sell. And this is something that changed my life. Everyone has to sell. Everyone has to market. I don't care if you're an engineering major. You have to then sell yourself to Pratt Whitney or whatever firm you want to work for. You're always marketing and communicating with somebody. So yeah, that's why a lot of these teachers, unfortunately, they don't understand or take the time to learn anything about selling, and they go to Udemy, who feeds them on this dream of cash, and, you know, doesn't let them know the reality of their misleading business model.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't learn it. But, you know, funnels are huge.
Where do you see yourself going from here? Do you see yourself creating more courses in the future besides the one that's coming out relatively soon?
Yeah, definitely. You know, and it's funny because this course that I'm putting out there, I realized it's really a mentorship program. It is obviously a course. I've obviously been putting material, but I structured it such that I wanted to make the course really short and to the point, so that it's really more about feedback. But I'm going to be doing a lot more courses. I would like to actually get into more personal development stuff. I'm thrilled to have helped people with their career and money, and I may do some mindset about money stuff. But I have so much experience in personal development, and I'm so passionate about it. I think it's what's missing in our culture. How to actually be happy, how to actually be peaceful, how to communicate. And I like communicating this stuff in relatable language, so it doesn't sound like, you know, a guru in a white cloak talking about these removed topics. I wanted to do some more really heart. I do think I come from the heart, but really heart-centered stuff for people out there. So yeah, I'm sure I'll be doing more stuff, and, you know, hopefully making more movies as well.
Or another book?
Yeah. I think, yeah, I do have a lot of other book ideas. It's just a matter of what I'm going to focus on next. Yeah.
Would you ever write a fiction
I actually love fiction. It's really what's weird is in the last couple of years as I've gotten really serious about my personal and professional development, I've had a hard time writing fiction.
Hmm.
Other than my movie While It Got Wasted, which I wrote with a partner, it's been hard for me to kind of escape into fantasy. I get so focused on real life,
Yeah.
but I would love to just kind of, I want to kind of let go of all this stuff even more and just write. Like, I have this book that's half written it's called Witches Be Crazy. And this is like out of left field but it's a comedy. And it's basically, it's like an R-rated comedy story about this guy who he's terrible with human women, but with supernatural women, he's like this stud. He's like just a player with like and I bring in all the different like vampires and fairies and then witches. And so he ends up dating this witch and all this crazy stuff happens. So
I can see
I
that one being popular. That sounds interesting.
I appreciate that. The thing is I got yeah, it's a creative process, and I wrote like half the book in like 3 days. I was in this like massive creative thing, and then I kind of just, it was hard for me to get back into that. I wrote it when I was younger, and it's weird, like your voice changes as you mature. So I've tried to get back into that voice. There's like a lot of frenetic energy in the writing, and I'm more chill, and I'm like, I mean, I don't know if I'm really chill, but I'm like more centered, and I'm like, I can't quite get into that like crazy energy I was in when I wrote it.
Course creation is very hot right now. Do you think that some people automatically roll their eyes right away when they hear an influencer say that they have a course coming out?
No, I don't think so. It's funny, I didn't even like, I guess it is hot. I mean, I look around and see, but to me, that's almost like saying, you know what's hot? Products are hot. Ooh, have you seen this new product? It's so cool. It's like course creation is, I mean, it's all about, can you solve a problem? So is the course of value to people? It's a product. So it's like sometimes people ask me, is digital marketing a fad or a trend? Like, no, it's like it's a skill that people need to help make money. I think honestly more influencers should be coming out with courses. And also I think the thing about a course that's so great is like YouTube channels and YouTube videos can be very helpful, but a course is even more helpful. It's more focused, and you have more direct support of your students. And I think if you have a topic where there's more room to more to teach, then a course is a wonderful way to deliver that.
I was wondering if you have a mentor, or did you have a mentor in the past? And if so, was it hard to find that mentor?
Yeah, I have had many mentors, and that's when my life like pretty much changed. When I was like 20-year-old angry, confused person who thought I knew everything but was still dissatisfied. I actually, to be honest with you, and this wasn't even hip back then, but like when I was like 20, I was probably would have been diagnosed with something like depression or anxiety if I went to a psychiatrist. I finally decided to see a therapist for all my many complaints. And that was so hard for me to do because I felt like I failed, I was weak, all this, these conversations. My parents kind of freaked out. Like, what are you seeing a paratherapist? They're going to blame us for everything.
Hmm.
And, but that was in the late 90s. It still wasn't very accepted. But I felt like I only saw the therapist for 6 months until I found my first spiritual teacher. And what changed was I was open. I finally was like, life, I need some fucking help. I need someone to give me some guidance. So, I'm not going to be a know-it-all. And from that point on, things got a lot better, and then I met, I mean, I probably could do a separate call with you about this because I've had some of the best mentors in my life. I wouldn't be here without them.
Is there one that stands out as far as course creation goes?
No, actually, for course creation, I did that not on my own. I took some courses by Ryan Deiss back in the day. I didn't have anybody teach me how to make courses. I do recommend, like, my mentor, my longest mentor's name is Joseph Maldonado. He may take my course because I've been like on him to do a course for a long time because he is brilliant. No bullshit, also no bullshit, like personal development person. But yeah, he's been the biggest influence on me.
That about wraps us up. Would you like to say anything else to the people listening? Any general tips, advice, thoughts?
My advice in life is to just be teachable. Be teachable in the areas where you are struggling. That's what I'd say. If you're crushing it and you're happy and satisfied in a certain area, then then enjoy it and be appreciative. And if there's any area where you want to have some kind of breakthrough or improvement, just be teachable. Ask for guidance, whether it's in the form of a book or a YouTube video or a mentor or a seminar. Something will come into your space, but you have to be teachable.
Absolutely. That's some of the best advice out there that's applicable to every single person out there. So, Seth, thank you so much for coming on today. You're amazing. You're obviously a visionary in the course creation world and the digital marketing world. It's an honor to have you on here. Any other things you want to say?
No, thanks for having me. It was great talking to you. And I'm glad you reached out to me. And, we can do this again.
If you guys enjoyed this interview with Seth, please go ahead and push the like button. If you're not already subscribed to this channel, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button. If you have any comments or questions, go ahead and leave them down below. I will get back to you. And until next time, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you around in another one of my videos. Bye!